Boom! There you have it. TD Jakes. I'm sorry, Reverend. I mean, Thomas Davis right there. Huge PR of 670 pounds. He's made amazing progress here. So I've been working with him over the last 14 weeks. And before this, his PR was 633 pounds, and done a lot of different work here. And you've seen his numbers go up. So I'm getting some questions on some of the stuff we're doing. So like with anything else, success leaves clues. So you may have some nuggets in here that are going to work for you. Some stuff won't. So you take what's useful for you, discard the rest. I'm just going to want to do this video to help you out, to honor TD for the great progress he's making. So anyways, so let's first talk about there's 6 different things we're going to cover here. First one is just an increase in training frequency. So before, TD was basically training 5 times over 2 weeks. So it's an average of about 2.5 sessions per week. So now he's up to 4 times a week in a regular week. So he's getting 8 sessions over 2 weeks instead of 5. So he's training more often, and that's the principle number 1, or what was working for him. Number 1 is training more often. 2, hitting the upper back more. We've increased his upper back volume a lot. So each training session we're doing something for the upper back. And so like we've talked about before is like, we're getting the vertical pulling in, mainly like through lat pull downs using various grips, doing various rowing exercises. And I've talked about before is the issue for most people. So I've done the high frequency, every day is back day. I've done this high frequency training with a lot of different people, and admittedly, sometimes people don't do well with it, because principle of individual differences. So a good way to keep in mind for most people that can handle it, because upper back for most people can take a real good thrashing, is what's not going to recover is lower back. So with your rows and things like that, you want to keep them chest supported, because a bent over row could be tougher on your lower back from a recovery standpoint, more so than even like a deadlift or something like that. So chest supported rows, lat pull downs, even though some pull-ups in there. Okay, next, different reloading strategies. Prior to this, TD, smart guy, was reloading and things like that. However, before this, the reload was a different kind of reload. So it wasn't really a true reload, because he was, he'd train hard, heavy, then on the reload do a bunch of reps. So if you're doing, say just someone like his strength goes up to 600 for a triple, but then, on the reloads doing, 425 for, 6 sets of 6 or something, or, 5 sets of 8, whatever, that, it's not necessarily a reload, because it's very difficult still. So that's like I'm training balls out powerlifting. Let's use, instead of like getting scientific, let's use some real lay terms. I'm going balls out powerlifting. I'm going testicles to the wall bodybuilding. So it's not really giving yourself a break there. So now he's actually getting a break. So what we do there is, keep those reps lower. So, instead of going, hey, we're going, up to, 670, he was only supposed to do 1 there. He almost got 2, but you got to stay on the program. But anyways, come on, champ. But anyways, I'm very excited about that PR. But anyway, so if he went 600 for 3, we can go down to like, say, 485 for 3 sets of 3. So what that does, more sets, less reps, builds that motor pattern over and over, instead of just, all right, I'm just going heavy powerlifting, now death drop sets of bodybuilding. So we're keeping in that powerlifting spirit. We're using the reload weeks for to perfect technique. And remember, for everybody else watching, drop those stimulants on the reload weeks. If you're taking a bunch of pre-workout, kick it on the reload week. You get back on it, it's like first time all over again when you're not in a reload. Anyways, okay, after that, landmine presses, okay? So TD had a weakness in the shoulders, didn't feel very good with overhead presses, and one strategy that's really helped him a lot is including the 1-arm kneeling landmine press. This has also been huge in the arsenal of Julius Maddox and other people that aren't able to do overhead presses in the traditional manner. Get a lot out of these 1-arm landmine presses. So you don't have to overhead press to bench big necessarily. Like Big Al Davis, the first person I ever trained to bench press over 6'5", 650 with a 670. He never did any kind of overhead press, couldn't handle it. But it would have been interesting because I wasn't using the one-arm landmine press back then. So it would be interesting if we go back in time and use that with him and see how the results would have been different, because I've been instrumental in both the progress of TD and in Julius Maddox. Okay, next, strengthening those back arms, baby. So, with the triceps, what we've done is TD's a very dynamic lifter. He's a very powerful stretch shortening cycle and stretch reflex. It's just like he stores that elastic like energy. Boom! Awesome stuff. But one exercise that kind of exposes that weakness. I mean, first time we did it, he was having trouble with 35 pounds or something around those pains. Dumbbell, floor, pause, tricep extensions. You down on the floor, pause it. Static overcome by dynamic is extremely difficult for those lifters that are able to really utilize a stretch reflex like him. So the really explosive people a lot of times have a lot of difficulty with that exercise. And since the triceps were a weakness, because he's so powerful, you notice we never did any kind of dead benches or any bottom end drives, any that kind of stuff, because he's already so powerful with his chest. And we're not going to lose that. I mean, Mike Tyson might be slightly better if he can work the ring with a jab a little bit, but we're not going to, you're not going to train Mike Tyson to just fight with a jab. So we're obviously not going to, get away from all his strengths, but by bringing up this weakness in his triceps and that real, those pause reps on the floor, huge difference for TD. And finally, building grinding strength. TD now has some grinding strength. So that's huge because he has not sacrificed any explosivity, one iota, but now he has grinding strength. So, how do you build that grinding strength in this instance? So the most obvious way to build grinding strength, and thankfully there's been sort of metamorphosis in the thoughts of, some powerlifters like, pioneers like Eddie Cohn, Larry Pacifico, all those guys back in the day. They have these high rep bodybuilding phases, Bill Kazmaier kind of power building type of style training. So they got a lot of practice grinding out reps if they needed to, because it was, doing sets at 8 to 10, that's going to build some of that ability to grind with that more time and retention. So with TD, we did start off, with some rep work, and he's not the best at reps. I mean, this guy is a fast twitch, explosive machine. Jeremy Hornster, these guys aren't good at reps. So, so-and-so might be able to do more on reps, but they're not going to touch them necessarily on a max because these guys are explosive, fast twitch machines. That doesn't mean they can't develop that grinding. So, sets of 6, sets of 8, huge for TD. And also, the last couple of weeks is building the isometrics. So right at the triceps is a weakness, hitting that lockout with the isometrics is instrumental in his progress. And besides being able to, produce about 15% more force than he can in a maximal concentric contraction, he's producing that force for 6 seconds. That's so long in that spot. I mean, this is not like a type of thing where you're trying to just overcome a sticking point. This is like you're in that Tijuana club fight. It's round 15. The ring's the size of a phone booth, and you got to knock that son of a bitch out of you right in front of you. That's how you got to approach these, and that's exactly what he does. You are not, it's not I'm going to go against the pins. It's I'm going to, make my best effort to break those son of a bucks. And these 6 strategies have helped TD, take his bench press to you saw that 670 right there. In the words of old Blue Eyes, Frank Sinatra, the best is yet to come. So I'm really looking forward to the progress TD's going to make. Great guy, the kind of guy is so classy. He steps out of the shower to take a leak. Thank you. Have a nice day.